Yeah, you can't hold me down. Yeah, how you like me now? You want beef, then have a call. Looks like bling blow, ayy. Yeah, you can't hold me down. Yeah, how you like me now? You want beef, then have a call.
The 68-team bracket for the men's NCAA Division I basketball tournament has been revealed. Welcome, everybody, to the 11th annual March Madness Series, brought to you by Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. I am joined by my March Madness crew, Jordan Conatser, Chad Rainwater, and Zach Hahn. I, of course, am Adam Banks, and we are here to cover the NCAA tournament the only way that we know how to do it. This is the Selection Sunday show, one of 4 shows that we will be doing where we cover in completion the NCAA tournament. The brackets were literally just released, and on this episode, we want to talk about the seeding, the key matchups, potential upsets, sleeper teams, and our Final Four predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in the crew, the March Madness crew that I've had for the past 11 years. Guys, thank you so much for being here. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. It's crazy to think. I say it every year, but, you know, it's another year that we're doing the show, and it's our 11th, and I want to mention it's nice to have Zach back this year.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be here after a 1-year hiatus, and you're always making progress on Off the Cuff, and, I'm gone for 2 years, and now you got an on-air light, you got a live studio audience. It's pretty great, man. I'm happy to be here. Best time of the year.
Chad, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back on the show. As everybody knows, this is my favorite time of the year. I say that I have the same intro every year, but favorite time of the year. I love it. Sent you a text this morning saying Merry Christmas, guys. I thought I'd get a better response than I did, but it's all good.
This is your favorite episode. Why is this one your favorite episode out of all the ones we do?
I don't know. I think it's more excitement over anything else. Like, we're all excited because we just watched the Selection Sunday show. Everybody's, I don't know. It's just like, it's like Christmas. It's a surprise. You never know. Like, we're all Kentucky fans. Like, so we didn't know what draw we were going to get, and just the anticipation. And, I don't know, man. I'm just ready to get it started. I'm excited for it.
So it's been 12 months since you guys have been on the air. So Chad, let's start with you. What's been going on in the last 12 months?
Not too much. Not too much at all, man. Same old. Baseball's getting started up for Cannon. He started a couple weeks ago. We get those games underway in about the next month or so. I'm excited for that. This is second season of Coach Pitch. Go Mariners. And Brandy's boys have started soccer, so that's something new for me. I've never been much into soccer, so I am looking forward to that. But other than that, man, just working and hanging out, watching a little college basketball. I've watched more college basketball here in the past week or so than I have the whole season. And I hope it stays that way, too, because I took off Thursday and Friday to watch the games. So I'm excited for that.
Ooh, you're making a holiday weekend.
Zach Attack, what about you, my friend? What's been going on in the last 12 months with you?
Well, I was gone for most of last year. Couldn't do the show. It was probably, 4 o'clock in the morning or something when you guys were recording it last year. So just happy to be here, getting back into the vibe of things. And I was worried Chad was going to have the camera on me the whole episode, and we were just going to have like the dip cam over here. So, but yeah, like I said, just thrilled to be here, man.
Jordan, how's it going, buddy?
Man, it's going. Nothing new over here, really, man. Just kind of the same thing as last year. I'm the boring one over here, I guess. So just ready to do this show again and be with you all in the studio and stuff, man. It's like Chad said, it's my favorite time of year to be able to do this with everybody.
And I had Jordan's microphone on low, so he should now be good to go. If you guys had a hard time hearing him in the first few seconds, that's why. Still learning this equipment. I should mention, we are at my house. We have created a home studio for Off the Cuff. We have come a long way since we first started sitting around. Well, we still have the same original table that we started out with.
That's what I was going to say. We're still with the OG table from back in, what was that place called? 4057.
Yes, yes. But it's so good to have everybody here. I just want to make mention that we are once again doing the Off the Cuff Bracket Challenge. You can sign up for that by going to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks on Facebook. Just click on the link and you will be able to join the bracket challenge. 1 entry per person. It is free to join, and the winner gets a $25 gift certificate from Amazon. And anybody could win. My mom won it 2 years ago, and I think the runner-up was Jordan's mom. So it should have been the March Madness Series Mom Edition because they knew more than what we did. But that is always fun. It makes the tournament so much more fun when you join a bracket challenge. So why not join the Off the Cuff Bracket Challenge? It's free, and you get a nice surprise. But let's get right to it, guys. The committee just released the brackets. How do you guys think the committee did this year with the seating? Was it fair? Was it unfair?
For the most part, I think they did pretty good with it. I saw a couple teams. Louisville, I think they were deserving of higher than an 8 seed. North Carolina, 1-12 against quad 1 teams. They didn't deserve to even get in the tournament. Other than that, I don't really have any issues. I like the matchups. I like the locations of the teams and where they're at. So I'm pumped to see how it unravels on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I thought the committee did a pretty good job overall. I think, maybe some teams, like Jordan said, Louisville, right, and Marquette were probably a little underseeded. I would have liked to seen Indiana get in as opposed to maybe like Utah State or something like that. But on the whole, to have that many teams and only have a few questionable calls, they're doing the best job they can.
You mentioned Indiana not getting in. Did you feel like there was any other teams that you felt like were snubbed that should have got in that didn't?
I just want to speak on this for a second. I think Jordan nailed it on the head. Had it, whatever. About the Louisville, sorry, I have 10 things going on over here. I think Louisville deserved a better seed than an 8 seed. But I don't want to overlook this Auburn, who got the overall number 1, but they're playing in Lexington in a game that could be possibly against Louisville. I don't know who got screwed more there, Louisville or Auburn. But I think that's a huge matchup in the second round on the 22nd, 23rd. Auburn and Louisville in Kentucky. I think Auburn just kind of got the short end of the stick on that.
Do you think that games at Rep Arena for Louisville, you think there'll be enough Louisville fans to show up that it'll be like a home game, or do you think people will go out and root against them?
Oh, yeah. I think that Louisville will definitely show up because it's at Rep Arena. It's only 60 miles down the road for them. I think that they have got a home court advantage. Now, contrary to that, I do think there will be people there to root against Louisville, especially Kentucky fans, but I don't know if the hate is still there for Louisville like it used to be.
I think the hate is still that strong from Kentucky fans. And first, I want to point out Louisville couldn't even fill up their own arena. If y'all remember earlier this year, Pat Kelsey was driving around campus begging people to come to the games. And I don't think they're going to travel as well as you think they're going to travel. I think you're going to have about an equal amount of Auburn fans there. And don't forget, Louisville has to get past Creighton, who's a really good team first. But I think on Thursday, Kentucky doesn't play till Friday, so I think you're going to see enough Kentucky fans there on Thursday to cheer against Louisville that it's going to not be a home field advantage for them.
Now, what I want to do is I want to talk about some sleepers and dark horse teams. And instead of kind of just going through the bracket in its entirety, the games that stick out to you in terms of the teams that stick out to you in terms of who could make a run, what you would call a sleeper, a team that most people would not see as a team making a run. But who do you personally see in this bracket of teams that could potentially make a run in this tournament this year?
Honestly, this is the first year in a while that I haven't had a double-digit seed going further than the Sweet 16. I have a lot of them in the first round, but as far as a Cinderella team, maybe looking at Drake, who went 30-3, and then the Missouri Valley Conference, led by Bennett Sturts, who averages 19 points a game. They're pretty solid. Don't look past Drake. They have a tough matchup against Missouri in the first round, but I think Missouri's kind of fallen off. They started off strong in the SEC, but here recently they just haven't been playing as well. They do run into a second matchup, potential matchup against Texas Tech. But I can see Drake going pretty far. McNeese State as well, who is led by or coached by Will Wade, who I think I picked McNeese a couple of years ago. They let me down, McNeese, and don't look past. But this isn't much of a sleeper, but BYU as well. I think BYU can do damage under first year coach Kevin Young. That's a Pope's former team, but Richie Saunders, who averages 16 points a game. I've watched a couple of BYU games at 12 o'clock at night. They're pretty good, and so I have them winning eventually against Wisconsin in the second round. So I don't have a lot of sleepers. My bracket's pretty chalk going after the second round. So
I like the Lobos. I like Richard Pitino. I think he's got a great team this year. They went 26-7, and they won their regular season. And Richard's been at New Mexico, I'd say, for 5-6 years. He's definitely going to be one of those coaches that end up at a bigger place next year. Villanova has their eyeball on Richard, but I think that they're just a team to watch out for. I've got them going to the Sweet 16. That means I've got them beating Michigan State in the second round to get to the Sweet 16. But I do think that their run ends in the Sweet 16. I've got Iowa State defeating the Lobos. But a Sweet 16 run for Richard Pitino, that would be his first. That would be great for a Mount West team. When's the last time a Mount West team went to the Sweet 16?
No idea, but I'm glad that we're not playing New Mexico, right? I agree with you. It's a dangerous team. It's somebody that I wouldn't want to see. I just think they got a really tough draw there with Marquette to start off, and then Michigan State. They're really going to have to prove it, and I don't even think they were able to win the Mountain West tournament. So that's going to be tough. For me, I'm looking at the West region as kind of where I have my biggest sleepers. And this is just a draft bracket. I've already made.
We should preface that, folks, with this is just gut. We filled this bracket out in 5-10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. So in the West, honestly, in the Elite Eight, I have UConn versus Arkansas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now UConn, I think people could get behind. 2-time defending national champions. They've been inconsistent, but they're at full strength. And then Arkansas, it feels unlikely just because I think we were so Jordan, how'd you put it? Like, just we knew what Cal was the last few years. It seems like maybe his offense is a little too outdated for that. But if they get Duthiero healthy, they potentially could get Boogie Flan back. I mean, they got a lot of talent. They played in the SEC. They get past Kansas. Pitino never had much success against Cal. So, it could happen. Somebody's going to make a run. Maybe it's them.
Do you have a boo dump bugging?
I mean, I can't disagree with Zach though. John Calipari, he's
one of the greatest. One of the greatest.
He is one. Honestly, he is one of the greatest. He changed basketball
Hall of Famer
for at least 10 years. So, and he used to be our coach, but he's got to go against Bill Self. But Arkansas wouldn't surprise me. They have the young talent. They have the older talent. They have everything kind of mixed up. Adu Thero is really good. If he can get back, he's somebody that I wanted to stay at Kentucky. Two other, I guess you could call them sleepers because where they're seated at. But UConn as an 8 seed, that's scary for Florida to have to go up against in the round of 32. And then also you have Houston, another 1 seed in the round of 32 that's probably going to have to face a Gonzaga team that's really hot right now. That they had a couple slower starts of the season. I think they lost to St. Mary's twice, but they beat them in the conference championship game. Gonzaga's really hot right now. That's a scary team for Houston to have to face in the round of 32.
So I'm seeing. I get it. I know why you're taking Arkansas so long. Basically, it's all coach for you, Zach, right?
Well, it could be. I think it's just as much too as I just think that part of the bracket is pretty weak. So if it's not Arkansas, it could be a Missouri or a Texas Tech or maybe even a Kansas out of there. Rick Pitino is solid, but if I was going all coach, I'd probably take Pitino over Cal there.
Yeah. So you do have that matchup happening, Pitino versus Cal.
Yeah, that's must watch.
That's a must see. That's a must see game. I'm surprised though, Zach, that you didn't take your favorite, as always, Maryland, who is actually good this year, 4 seed. How far? Just out of curiosity, how far do you have Maryland going?
I'm losing in the Sweet 16 to UConn.
Okay. All right. So what I would like to do is I would like to get our Final Four predictions, and I will start with Jordan. And I want you to give us who you think will be in your Final Four. Also tell us who your champion is and explain to the audience how you come to that conclusion.
All right, so first of all, out of the South, I have Auburn. Bruce Pearl is a heck of a coach. They've had a really good season. Janai Broome, they go deep. They go at least 10 deep in their roster. They're going to come out of the South to make it to the Final Four. Out of the West, I'm going to go with Rick Pitino and his St. John's. Pitino's shown that he is still one of the best coaches to ever coach the game of college basketball, and he's doing the same thing with another team in year 2025, and I feel like he's been coaching for 100 years. So out of the East, I'm going to go Alabama. They've got from what I have, they have a pretty easy track. Nobody's going to be able to keep up with Alabama's offense on that in the East. Duke's not going to be able to do it. Arizona's not going to be able to do it. They're too powerful. And then out of the Midwest, I have to take the 1 seed Houston. Defense is really good. They have one of the best offenses in the country. That team is going to be hard to stop. Championship game is going to be St. John's, Alabama, and at the end of the day, Alabama's offense is going to just be too high powered. When they're hitting threes, nobody can stop them.
It would be a first-year championship for Alabama, right?
Yeah, they made the Final Four last year, and Nate Oates he's just a great coach. You know, he's an analytics coach. He gets great talent in, and Alabama's lost some head-scratcher games this year, but overall, people have said it from the beginning of the year. People thinking that they were the best team in college basketball, and I still think that's probably true.
That'd be a really fun game and a fun Final Four as a whole. Like Alabama, St. John's, that would be epic. That'd be a classic.
Best defense versus best offense, pretty much. Top 5 defense, top 5 offense. It'd be really fun.
And it's not unrealistic, an SEC team winning the championship this year, being the best conference in the last 20 years of college basketball. I haven't seen a stronger conference in a long time than this year. Zach, what about you? Who's your Final Four and champion, and how'd you get to that road?
Well, I got Michigan State beating Auburn in the Elite Eight to win the South. Michigan State's really come on strong, top 5 defense. Tom Izzo always has his teams playing their best ball at the right time of year, and this year's no exception. I already talked about Arkansas. That's a long shot. That's probably going to change on the final bracket, but that's what I got for now. I got Duke winning the East. That's kind of a big if Cooper Flagg's healthy for them. And then the ACC was pretty weak, but I think that they're strong enough to make it that far. And then I'll agree with Jordan on Houston coming out of the Midwest. Winning the championship, I do have Houston. They got LJ Cryer, a whole bunch of good shooters at Houston. Uzan, Sharp, all those guys shooting like 40% on 3. Kelvin Sampson, heck of a coach, or Kelvin Sampson, excuse me. And I just took them over Duke and pretty much everybody else there because it's kind of a toss-up, and I think Houston would be the one team that most people wouldn't have there to win.
You don't have Arkansas in the championship game, though, do you?
No,
okay.
I got Michigan State beating them.
Okay.
So I'm not crazy.
I mean, yes, and Houston's been consistent, too, throughout the entire year, so that's something to say. Chad, what about you? Who is your Final Four and champion?
All right, in the South, I have Michigan State, as well as Zach. Jordan, did you have Michigan State in the South?
No, I'm Auburn all day. Bruce Pearl's got this.
I don't know. I mean, Bruce Pearl has one Final Four. I don't know. You look at coaches right there, both great coaches. But Izzo has one of his better teams in the past 4 or 5 years, and they always say January, February Izzo. So I'm going to take the Michigan State Spartans over Auburn, and then in the West I have Florida over St. John's. I think Florida is one of the hottest teams right now. And they've been one of the more consistent teams throughout the whole season. I think they are a little bit better than St. John's. They score better. They have a little bit more offensive weapons. And so I have Florida coming out of the West. In the East, I have Duke beating Alabama. I hate this pick. I did not want to take Duke the Final Four. I hate Duke this year. Probably hate them more than I had than when they had Zion. But they're just too good. Their competition is questionable. They didn't play a ton of good teams this year. The ACC's been down. They did run through it. So I have Duke in the East, and then in the Midwest, I have Houston beating Kentucky. I hate that pick too, but I just don't think Kentucky has what it takes to make a Final Four. So I have Houston. And so in the championship game, I have Florida and Duke, which is I hate this game. I really hope this isn't what happens. But I have Florida winning the national championship.
Florida winning the national championship. It'd be their third. So if Florida wins a third championship, I mean,
What's crazy is they're naming a basketball school. Their fans don't care about basketball.
They're totally a basketball school.
Now?
I think so. I think Billy Donovan made them a basketball school. But Florida would arguably have to be in the top 15 best college basketball programs in history if they win a third championship.
Yeah, that's pretty rare, as much as it hurts to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you guys were talking about the SEC earlier. It's hard to know because we've been so inconsistent in the past, but I think the SEC is just so far above where it has been basketball-wise, and it's just the impact of all the money coming into the conference. From you get Texas, Oklahoma in there, football's bigger than ever, and now it's just like every SEC school is a basketball school just because they have so much money compared to the average school.
And can I say, we haven't mentioned it yet, the SEC got 14 teams in the tournament. The record before that was 11, so they beat it by, or 10, it was 10 or 11, so
11,
they beat it by
it was
3.
11, yeah.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you guys went with the SEC's the real deal in your all's brackets. I mean, it's hard not to. Like, just watching the games this year, it was a battle. Like, if you can get through that with a decent record, then you got to be competitive naturally, right?
Yeah, and Florida won the SEC tournament a little earlier today, which is their first time in a long time. I think that was their first time since 2014 under Billy Donovan was the last time that they won the SEC championship.
2014 is right. They were really good that year, too.
Now, before I reveal my Final Four, I just want to say that Kentucky's not in it, and I noticed that nobody, for the first time, I believe, since we've ever done the March Madness series, this is the first year we did not put Kentucky in the Final Four. So we know that Kentucky has a new man in charge, Mark Pope. I think he's done a fantastic job in his first year at Kentucky. When I first heard the news, when it broke that he was the new coach at Kentucky, I was thinking what everybody was thinking, disconnection from the fan base. What a stupid hire. But I think he has exceeded the expectations that everybody set out for him at first. I mean, Kentucky, they have, if Pope makes it out of the first weekend, that is the first time. This is astonishing. Since 2019, 6 years since we've been out of the first weekend. And that was, we lost to Bruce Pearl in the Elite Eight that year. But this will be the first time since 2019 if we make it out of the first weekend. Just curious, how far does everybody got Kentucky going in the tournament?
I have them going to the Elite Eight. I have them beaten, I have them winning the first round game and then beating Illinois and also beating Tennessee for a third time, which is going to be tough. But we've beaten them before, so, I mean, why not a third time? But I have them losing to Houston in the Elite Eight. But, I'll take it. I'll take a Sweet 16. If we have to play Tennessee in the Sweet 16 and lose, I mean, it was a hell of a season. Despite what all's happened, all the injuries we've dealt with, it's been a great season. Now, if we lose the first-round game, I don't know about that. We just got to win that. Just win that first-round game. Win the first-round game, and I'll be I won't be happy, but I'll be fine.
I mean, we've got way too much for Troy to handle. They weren't even the best team in their conference. They kind of got lucky and won the conference tournament. So I think we should be good there. And Cal's not the coach anymore. So
how far you got them going, Zach?
I have them losing in the second round.
Oh God,
unfortunately, and I have Texas on my sheet. I don't really know about Texas, but just some combination of Illinois, Texas, or Xavier. I could see that second round game giving us trouble. We've had trouble stringing together wins with this team, and with the Jackson Robinson injury really hurt us. Butler's banged up. We don't have a backup point guard. I mean, we're as affected by injuries as any team in the country. And I think you put all that together. My heart says we can make a run. It's a special team. It's been fun to watch. My head says don't pick them. Don't write it down.
Jordan, how far do you got the Cats?
I've got them in the Sweet 16. I have them losing to Tennessee. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. Kentucky is one of those teams. You know, they are like 5-0 against the top 5 teams. Is that right? Or no, the record's
we were 5-0 against the ACC and
That's
SEC.
Right.
The teams that were in the championship. So Louisville, Duke, Tennessee, and Florida. We're 5-0 against those teams.
We've talked about so many stats with them. But the thing is, I mean, they've had so many quad 1 wins this year, quad 2 wins. This team is a wild card. We're injury ridden, like Zach said. Jackson Robinson's done for the year. Lamont Butler is not healthy at all. Kirk Reese is down. Colin Chandler stitches. Ortega Owe got stitches in the SEC tournament. This team's tough. Anything can happen. If Tennessee can go down, if UCLA could beat Tennessee, then I would advance Kentucky. If anybody beats Houston along the way, I could see anything happening. But it's kind of like Chad said. I want 1 to 2 wins, and then Mark Pope is really going to have a true offseason to get a team together, put a championship team together, and I'm ready for that to happen.
Yeah, he just needs that monkey off his back. Pope comes in with no NCAA wins. So once he gets that first win under his belt, I think we'll be fine. But I feel like there's going to be, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him coming in that first round game. Given I think we are 10.5-point favorite, but in the past that really didn't matter. But like Jordan said, Kyle Perry's not our coach, so I don't know. I think we'll be fine in the first round. I'll still be a little nervous going into that game, just because we're all traumatized by the past 15 years. But
we don't have a single guy that played in that game last year back, so I'm not worried about the first round.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
I've got them in the Elite Eight, which I would have never imagined them going to the Elite Eight, but after looking at the matchups, I've got them facing Houston. Tennessee is the team that I just cannot take far. They have burned me so many times. I don't know what it is. Rick Barnes, he's an excellent in-season coach. He just stinks when it comes to coaching in the tournament. Tennessee has yet to make a Final Four. They've made a Elite Eight a couple of times, but I've got Tennessee losing to UCLA, and I see Kentucky facing UCLA. That's going to be a good matchup. Mick Cronin, Mark Pope, but I think Pope can pull that win off, which is going to make them go to the Elite Eight. What would you rank Pope as far as if you had to grade him A, B, C, D, F for his first year at Kentucky?
For me, I'm going to go, and people might disagree with this, but like you said, he put a team together in 2 weeks. He put a coaching staff together in 2 weeks. He is a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. We were a 6 seed in the SEC tournament, and the amount of great wins that we had. I mean, we had a couple I can't understand conference losses, Texas, Georgia, just a couple games like that. But other than that, I have to give Mark Pope an A+. There's nothing outside of that for me.
I'd say I'm between, like right now, if I had to give him a grade, I'd probably give him an A-, just because there were some questions with some of the games. Like the Arkansas game was really, really deflating, and that takes it off an A+ for me. But I think I've got to it's all getting to the second weekend for me. I've been saying that since the day he was hired. I think the momentum that you could get out of that would just be huge when you're talking about putting together next year's team and just getting the program back in a national spotlight. Another week of publicity would be great. But I think it just comes down to what are you going to do in these 2 games? If we were to lose in the first or second round, I'd probably have to drop them down to a B. That would be just a little bit deflating. And I mean, the injuries are an asterisk, but I think it's a huge couple games to determine, what the direction of the program is.
I agree with Zach. I'm going with the A- as well. And if he doesn't win the first game in the NCAA tournament, I'm dropping it down as. Like both of them said, we've had some really good losses, really great losses, really great wins, and really bad, horrible losses. And he was the same way at BYU. And I hope this isn't a trend going forward. We can name them off all day, the good wins, the bad losses. It just, I don't know coming into this season, like before Pope was hired, after Cal was let go, and then before we got Pope, like what our expectations were for a coach coming in. Like, did we think we were going to start from scratch and just go to a national championship game? I don't know, but there's been times during this season, before all the injuries occurred, that we were like, maybe we have a chance to actually take this team to a net. Maybe this is it. Maybe we got, maybe Pope strung together a great team and we have a chance to go to national championship. However, with the injuries, it kind of lowers the expectations. But I'm going to give him an A-.
I'm going to give him a 90, A-, right on the edge of a B. But yes, I think coming in, I think he connected with the fan base. I think he gets the job. He made it out of the first night of the SEC tournament, won his first game. I think that's important. He knows how important the SEC tournament is. The reason I give him an A- is because of the connection he's had, the the fact that he does understand the assignment and what it takes to be the coach here. But the reason it is a low A is because, like Chad said, the losses were bad losses. Losing to Alabama or Arkansas was horrible. Just a couple silly things. His substitutions really frustrate me. He is stubborn when it comes to his substitutions. I don't get his... I don't think he's so stubborn to where he'll be stuck on that continuing forward. It seems like he's trying to adjust his substitutions, but like when Omari is killing it and he sits him out, it makes no sense and it frustrates me.
That's what I was going to say too. I didn't to kind of echo what you're talking about, some of the frustrations. I think Pope, like I would agree with you all. I think he gets the program. He's watching the same program as the fans and he understands what that's about. But the way he views the game of basketball and the way he coaches is completely different than I think what the fans here are used to. Which is, I mean, he's the coach for a reason, right? I hope it works out. But if it doesn't and we start not having the success that we're expecting to, I think those kind of things are going to, like, he's not going to get the patience that a different coach might get, because people get mad when he doesn't yell at the refs, when he is just talking about metrics all the time and stuff like that. It's hard to connect. So, I mean, with his style, he has to win.
I think you're going to see that. Like, I think this year you're going to look at it differently than you would next year, just because he will do that. He's going to run with the analytics. You see Nate Oates and all these other coaches that are doing this right now, and it's working really well for them. Mark Pope just doesn't have the talent this year.
Yeah.
You have to think our best players were all pretty much sixth men for mid-majors last year.
Yeah.
That's something like he wants to do. He wants to stick with his game of basketball that he's used to coaching and playing and stuff like that. He just doesn't have the team to do it this year. That's why I'm giving him the A+ grade, is because he's done so much with so little. And I think you're going to see a whole different level of Kentucky basketball next year. Like Banks said, he understands the assignment. He understands what it is to be in Lexington, Kentucky, and what it is to get those kids to put on that jersey. And he's making them understand it as well.
Yeah, well said.
All right, my prediction for the Final Four in the South, I've got Auburn. I think they've been consistent all year. They've been overwhelmingly the best program in college basketball for the 24-25 season. So I've got them in my South bracket. I've got St. John in the West. I think that St. John is what do they have? The third best defense in the nation. An amazing defense, and they also won their regular season. They won their conference tournament. It was the first time they've won the conference tournament in like 25 years. So Rick Pitino, the king of New York, Rick Pitino going to the Final Four. He's got a road to get there. He's got to get through Kansas. He's got to get through Texas Tech. He's got to get through Florida. That was a tough one to determine, Florida or St. John. And I said whoever wins that game is going to be my champion. But I got St. John in the West. Over in the East, I've got Alabama, Jordan's pick to win it all. But I've got Alabama, Nate Oates. Again, I have to echo what Jordan says. He is an amazing coach. I don't like him. I think he just is. He seems prickish. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Is it prickish? Is it?
It's the way, for me, it's the way he carries himself, just the way he acts. And I just don't like his ugly suits that he wears. And I just don't really like anything about Alabama basketball.
Yeah, it sucks that Alabama's good at basketball too.
Oh, they're a fun team to watch, but I agree with everything you said, especially the red flannel or plaid or whatever that is.
They already have football. Why do they need basketball also? They're fine. Just stick with football. Hire Saban back. You're going to need him.
He seems like the type of coach that, like, back before it was legal or before it was legal to pay players, it seems like Nate Oates would be the guy that showed up with like a big manila envelope to
What wasn't he like a high school physics teacher or something, and then all of a sudden he just decided to become one of the best college basketball coaches in the game?
Yeah, I reckon he coached high school basketball for a little bit too.
He coached at Buffalo first, right?
Did he?
Yeah, he had Buffalo.
Yeah, but he came from like high school to Buffalo and then got the Alabama job and just has been crazy good. I mean, good for the guy. I'm with Banks. I don't really like him. I don't hate him. He's not my cup of tea.
And he's got really aggressive guards. His guards are not, and they like
Bruce Pearl.
Bruce Pearl said.
Bruce Pearl reference right there.
Bruce Pearl. I mean, he did. He straight up said.
What'd he say?
He says that his guards are not. That's what he said. So, did that make the air when he said that on the SEC network?
It did, and they didn't even. Well, they didn't have time to bleep it out or anything because it was live. But like, they just kept on going too. He said it, and he was like, "Yeah, man, my guards aren't a bunch of." points.
The best thing was Janab Baroom. You could just see his eyes bug up. His reaction was my favorite thing for that entire little words that Bruce Pearl just decided to spit out there. So
He was just excited, and I was like, what are they going to do, fire him? He would get another job in 30 seconds.
Indiana's going to be knocking his door down at the end of the year anyways.
So I've got Bama in the East, and then in the Midwest, I've got Houston, a very boring team, but yet a very scary team to come against. And I actually have Houston beating Kentucky to make it to the Final Four. A very slow offensive team, a very slow defensive team, but they're good. Championship game, St. John versus Alabama, with St. John, ladies and gentlemen, winning the 2025 national championship. It's Pitino's year. He needs a third championship. It will solidify him as one of the greatest of all time. Win or not, he's still the greatest, but this solidifies him right up there with the greats. I mean, when you win 3 titles, there is no question that you are one of the greatest of all time.
Have we ever had two of us had the same championship game before? Me and Banks have the same championship game.
And it's not involving Kentucky.
And there's no Kentucky in it, right? So St. John's and Bama, that's a weird way that both of us got to the championship game, but I think we're going to overrule you all, and we're probably going to be right.
If Pitino pulled that off, that would not only be 3 championships, it would be 3 championships over, 4 decades?
With 3 different schools.
Be wild.
I hope he does. I've never hated Pitino. I didn't like him at Louisville. Just because at Kentucky you can't like the Louisville coach, but I've never hated Pitino. He's always every year at Louisville he had great teams. And then where was he at before he went to St. John's? Iona. He made them relevant. Mm-hmm. He is just, at the end of the day, he has to go down as a top 5, if not top 10 coach in college basketball history.
So, and does everybody have a different champion too? I have St. John, Jordan has Alabama, Chad has Florida, and Zach had
Houston.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. So everybody's got a different champion. So, man, this is the first time that this really could get out of hand. And we can only know when the tournament starts this Thursday. But let's talk about the coaching carousel. This is the time of year where coaches get hired and coaches get fired. The biggest jobs available right now that is open is Indiana, Florida State, Miami, and Utah. Indiana, I think, is the best job available right now. Indiana, I still think they're a top 10 basketball program. They've not been relevant since the 80s, maybe the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. But I think that it just is going to take the right guy to get it. They can't afford a mistake. I could see them going after a Bruce Pearl. A lot of people think, he would never leave Auburn. That's silly to think he would never leave Auburn. He made Auburn what they are. Auburn is not a basketball school. Auburn was so irrelevant before Bruce Pearl came, and look at what he's done. So it would be such a mistake for them to overlook him. But who do you think is the biggest job open? Is it Indiana to any of you all, or is there another school out there that you find that's bigger?
Has Mike Woodson has it been announced that he's gone?
They said they're done. They're splitting ways with him after the season. So that came out about 2 months ago.
I remember doing
Villanova too is available at this point.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I forgot about the Mike Woodson thing. I thought they were going to get in today, and so I thought that they would, consider keeping him. But
even
that's right.
You got to get rid of him. They have Chris Beard or Bruce Pearl. That's it.
Well, it looks like as of 2 days ago, somebody was reporting that their top 2 candidates right now are Clemson's Brad Brownell and Drake's Ben McCollum. So it looks like they're option 1 and 2 for Indiana.
They're going to stay irrelevant then. If that's what they're going to go with, congratulations, you're going to be irrelevant.
I mean, the Clemson coach, they just come off a Final Four. They're solid this year as a 5 seed. I mean, that's not terrible. It's definitely a downgrade for a program that needs to stay relevant.
I mean, that's a school that, the 70s and 80s and, up until the past 15, 20 years, Indiana's really, their relevance has gone down. And they had Tom Crean for 10 years, and they've just not had that coach to bring the Bobby Knight fire. Chris Beard would go there in a heartbeat. And then, honestly, Bruce Pearl, I would leave Auburn for Indiana. Just the level of basketball.
Yes.
Auburn's a football school.
I don't know.
Ole Miss is a football school.
Yeah, I mean, agree that they're a football school, but what Bruce Pearl's done there, that program's been up for the past 5-6 years.
Yeah, he looks like he's having a lot of fun at Auburn. But I mean, I'm sure the right offer. But it seems like with those candidates, Chad, that maybe what Indiana's wanting to do is spend less money on the coach and more money on the players. That's a factor these days.
Well, they did have the number one transfer this year, and the most expensive transfer, and like that didn't work out for him.
Well, he just turned out to be a lazy kid from the most part of it. He got paid and stuff like that. But you got to think, if you were Bruce Pearl or Chris Beard, like the SEC put 14 teams in the tournament. Why would you not want to go to a different conference and just actually truly show just like I dominate?
Oh,
He don't got too much time
He kind
either.
of dominated here in
He's
Auburn.
65. He'll be 65 this week, Bruce Pearl.
Rick Pitino is 115 years
He
old,
is.
though.
He is.
And he's still doing it.
Yeah, that's why he's not on my radar anymore to move somewhere else. I do think St. John's is his last stop. I mean, could you see Patino going to Indiana?
I mean, I saw Patino's last stop in St. John's. New York's his city.
Yeah.
But, I mean, before the season, we were talking about the Kentucky hire. I was like, let's bring Patino back for 2 or 3 years. Like, let him finish his career here. And I would have been fine with that. But I think Indiana doesn't have very many choices. And I think if they don't become relevant on this hire, they're just never going to commit to being relevant
I
again.
think Villanova's a bigger job than that already. I mean, like they're in Philly. Indiana's just another school in the Big Ten now.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It's just, and Villanova, with Jay Wright, put them up in the relevancy to be a blue blood school. I mean, they're right there at the top of the list with the blue bloods.
Did they win 2 titles? One, 16 and 18?
They won 2.
Yeah.
Who?
Villanova under Jay Wright.
Yeah. The other one too?
2016 and 2018, I think.
Yeah, and Villanova's probably got it. I don't know, like bottom line who's got more money for their program, but Villanova doesn't have a football team, so they have to make basketball success. Indiana's got football too to worry about.
Well, that is Richard Pitino's job if he wants it. That's who I have been hearing that that Villanova is eyeballing. I think Richard Pitino is the second coming of Rick Pitino. I mean, he honestly, if you look at his pregame conferences, his postgame conferences, he handles himself just like his dad. And his defense, he sets his defense up just like his dad. And you also got to think his offense is great too because he learned the Billy Donovan offense as an assistant under Billy Donovan. So he's kind of the full package. I think that he's obviously proved his success at these smaller schools. If he is given a chance to perform on a big stage, I think he'll be right up there with the great coaches, and he'll have Villanova where they need to be.
Where was Richard Pitino at before New Mexico? I'm trying to think about that.
He was
Minnesota.
at Minnesota.
He did Minnesota after Tubby? Right after Tubby, they went from...
Yes,
okay.
yes. And then before he was at Minnesota, he was at, I believe it was like South Florida or something like that, and he was only there for a year and then got the Minnesota job.
I got a dark horse candidate here for a big job. Don't know which one it would be, but VCU's coach, Ryan Odom, looking at him here. So in 2 years at VCU, 51-20. They're pretty solid this year. He was actually started at UMBC and was the first 16 seed to beat a 1 back in 2018.
So that's the team that beat Virginia?
Yeah. So this guy's got a little bit of a resume. A couple of years now at VCU. If they were to beat BYU or something like that, I could see him landing a real big job.
I mean, a lot of these smaller coaches. Florida's coach Todd Golden came from San Francisco. Is that right?
Yeah, I
the
think
team,
so.
They made a NCAA tournament run like 3 years ago. LSU's coach, they're not relevant this year, but in South Carolina, same thing. They're not really relevant, but those coaches have really done wonders coming from the smaller mid-major schools to come into bigger conferences and really tear it up.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see with these job openings of Indiana and Villanova, which one of these smaller teams, like, I don't know, McNeese, Will Wade ain't getting a big job anytime soon.
I think he will.
Drake, though, I mean, Drake's man was on the list, so I don't know. It just depends. Like,
I don't know. Like, you can be vague, I guess. You don't want to say the wrong thing, but what did Will Wade do? Did he violate the rules of basketball, or did he do something unethical?
I think it was...
he offered somebody a big ASS. I was wanting you to use the button. I was trying to get your attention over there. He was trying to give a big what a bag or something. What was it he said? He was
Bag of
yeah, it was before
money.
It was before NIL. He was
that's
caught on
legal
tape.
now.
He faced suspension and penalties for multiple NCAA violations, including making impersonable payments and failing to cooperate with investigations. So he was just paying the players. Like,
Yeah, he was ahead of his time. Like, somebody's definitely going to hire him.
You can pay everybody now. He's just giving them a bag. Heck, that's what Bruce Pearl got in trouble with Tennessee.
He saw the writing on the wall. He knew how the game was going to be played. He was just a couple years ahead of it.
Right. I mean, like now, Bruce Pearl can have as many cookouts as he wants for recruits, and he's not going to get in any trouble.
Well, this is the time of year for coaches to show out. This is the determining factor on if you get a big job or if you lose your job. I mean, it's amazing to think that one good performance in the tournament can just put you up there with the best. Look at what's-his-face from Oklahoma. Not Piper. What's his name? Poser?
Moser.
Moser, yes. I mean, Loyola College, he did well with them 2 years in a row, and now he got the Oklahoma job, which I don't see them keeping him too much longer. I think he's honestly got one more year on his contract before Oklahoma's an open position.
He's got one of the best freshmen in college basketball this year. I don't understand. Oklahoma's not a basketball school. Like,
No.
what have you had over the years? Buddy Hield? That's pretty much been it. And you're in the SEC, and they still made the tournament.
Blake Griffin.
All right, they did have Blake Griffin.
Did they?
All right,
And his
I didn't even
brother.
think about that. And his brother.
Is that where he played?
Yeah.
They were both really good. But other than that, I mean, Oklahoma's always a football school, and they competed in the SEC. I don't know. I don't see why they would get rid of Porter Moser. He has, what's the kid's name? Jeremiah Fears?
They also had Trey Young.
Okay, y'all are making me sound really stupid right now. They did have Trey Young as well.
Did they?
Anybody
Yeah.
else
I'm
we want to
forgetting
talk?
all this.
Anybody else we want to say to make me feel just bad about myself?
I don't think Oklahoma's like they don't have like a lot of Final Fours or big time success, but they were always pretty solid.
I think their move to the SEC was a huge mistake. I mean, they're not going to be able to compete.
Let's
I mean,
get rid of them. Let's get rid of them in Missouri, and let's take in North Carolina and somebody else.
I mean,
No, I do not want North Carolina in the SEC.
Oklahoma does have Jim Ross, though, on the sidelines. So we got that going for us. I mean, I can't wait until Jim Ross comes to Rupp. I would love to see that.
they should be here next year. Hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean,
Am I crazy? I'm looking at a list of the best Oklahoma basketball players. Did Buddy Hield not play there?
yeah, he did.
He
I think he
didn't-
took him to a
didn't even make
Final
the
Four.
list.
He took him to a Final Four a few years ago.
Buddy Hill did.
I
That
believe
was
so.
Oklahoma State.
No,
That was
Buddy Hield.
Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, Buddy Hield in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he played for Oklahoma. I guess they didn't think he was good enough to make the top 50 list. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's one of the best ever to do it there, but
Well, only time will tell, and we will see how the coaching carousel will spin as the tournament keeps on going. Now, we have been recording for 47 minutes, so I would like to give everybody a chance to give their final thought on, I guess, just really anything you want to say. We'll go around your final thoughts on what you're looking forward to the most of this year's tournament. We'll start with Zach. Well, let's start with you, my friend. Give us your final sign off of how you feel this tournament's going to go.
What am I looking forward to the most?
Yes.
I think there will be at least one or two just Cinderellas, at least just win one game, somebody that you just completely wouldn't expect to win in the first round. And I think that'll be extra satisfying this year, just because college sports in general have changed so much in the last few years, and it's become so much more about money. There's such a separation between the haves and the have-nots. So I really hope that there is one of those games, a 13, a 14 type win, just to remind everybody that that's why they play the game. And I think as that probably becomes more rare in the future, I think they'll make the times that it does happen that much more special.
Jordan?
this is Chad's favorite show of the year. My favorite show is actually going to be our next show that we do once we get the first two rounds done. I do want to say I think this is going to be the most. There's not going to be as many upsets this year. NIL's completely taken that away in the NCAA tournament for me, and I think I'm going to be right about this, but I'm going to hate that aspect of it because all your good kids from these mid majors went to bigger schools this year. I mean, your next group of people that are going to come out of mid majors, yeah, that's going to be fine. But like in my bracket, I don't have a 1, 2, or a 3 seed losing any of their games, and I feel very comfortable with that. I don't think any 1, 2, or 3 seed will lose in the first round. I just think NIL is kind of shaking up the way that college basketball works, and now the best players from the mid majors, you know, Mark Sears, Janai Broom, people like that, they're at these big time schools already, and the kids at the mid majors are just younger. They're just waiting to step up and go to the next level. So I think the bigger schools are just going to kind of overtake the tournament. I don't think you're going to see as many upsets.
We'll stick with the upsets here. I'm looking forward to the upsets. I think we say it every year, like, oh, this year I don't see that many upsets in my bracket, but it's March, baby.
It is.
Crazy things happen in March. It ain't called March Madness for a reason, or it is called March Madness for a reason. I'm looking for. I'm curious to see what actually happens. You know, there are the good teams, the really good teams. You know, there's a handful of them, probably about 9 or 10 that are way above the others. But you never know. You never know what could happen. You know, a Duke could struggle against Mississippi State in the second round. You know, Louisville could compete with Auburn in the second round and knock Auburn off. You know, you never know what's going to happen. It's basketball, and I'm just looking forward to the upsets, the buzzer beaters. Those are always fun. I'm excited to actually be able to watch a lot of these first round games on Thursday and Friday, and just enjoy some great basketball. And hopefully that Kentucky can win at least one game in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited for the storylines, the potential storylines that we could face. Like, I mean, you could potentially see a Rick Pitino versus John Calipari. I mean, you could potentially see even Richard playing as Pop. So much could happen here in this tournament. We could even see Arkansas versus Kentucky. I mean, it could happen.
I mean, you already get Kansas and Arkansas. You get Bill Self and John Calipari, two guys that have played in 2 national championship games, coached against each other. So that'll be a good first round matchup.
You got to think Arkansas's already beat them this year too.
Yeah, I mean,
Arkansas versus Kentucky would be the worst championship possible for us.
That would be horrible.
I would absolutely love it. And if that happens, go ahead and bet that, Banks. If you can get that on one of the betting apps, then you might $5 to win $2 million.
I'd be sick to my stomach.
All right, this is the Selection Sunday show. This is a podcast-only episode, so we will be back to cover the rest of the tournament, but we will be on podcast and live on the radio, and we will cover the first weekend on March the 26th, Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and then on April the 2nd, that's a Wednesday at 9 o'clock, we will cover the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. And then on Wednesday, April 9th at 9 p.m., we will do our post-championship show where we will review the Final Four and the championship game, and we will talk about, just kind of wrap up the tournament. And that will be at 9 p.m. on WLXU 93.9, live on the air. So we look forward to all of that. But folks, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the March Madness series, brought to you by Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. I am Adam Banks. Thank you to Jordan Conatser, Zach Hahn, and Chad Rainwater for being here as well. And folks, we will see you in the next episode.
You can't hold me down. Yeah, how you like me